he does is play basketball. In the world, he's this big.
So all he had to do was just run 3 guys at him, and every time he tried to attack the basket, knock him on his butt, and make him go with the free throw line and wear him down. So all that whining they did, why shake their hand? They were just whiners. They won the series. Give them credit. We got old. They got past us, but...
For years, they beat him down, laughed at him, dared him to break. Then one night in Detroit, everything snapped back on them. Michael Jordan took beatings, swallowed frustration, and waited patiently until one night when the bad boys finally lost control.
Laimbeer was doubled down low. They get it to Dumars. And now Aguirre will try to get in the scoring column. Still missing, and Pippen runs it down.
And here's where the story really starts to get ugly. The Detroit Pistons of the late 1980s weren't just a basketball team. They had an attitude, a warning. A group that walked onto the floor is already inside your head. They didn't just want to beat you, they wanted to punish you. Every screen was harder. Every rebound was a fight. Every drive to the rim came with a message. They called themselves the Bad Boys, and they leaned into it. Booed in every arena? Good. Hated by stars across the league? Even better. That nickname wasn't media hype, it was a badge of honor. Detroit played with intimidation on purpose. It was psychological warfare mixed with raw force, and they knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't accidental toughness, it was strategic. They built a system around fear, frustration, and control. Make the game ugly, make stars uncomfortable, break rhythm, break confidence, break will, and for years it worked. And this is where Bill Laimbeer enters the picture. Laimbeer wasn't the most athletic guy on the floor, and he knew it. So he leaned fully into being the villain. His job wasn't to score or dazzle, it was to make life miserable. Undercut the shooters so they landed awkwardly, elbows in the lane, hard fouls that crossed the line from physical to personal. Intimidation was his currency. Now Detroit has other tough guys. Rick Mahorn would hit you, sure, but you knew it was coming. Laimbeer was different. Players expected contact in that era, but not deliberate attempts to hurt you. That's why so many despised him, and Laimbeer fed off it. The boos, the hate, the reputation, it fueled him. Being disliked wasn't a side effect. That was the whole point.
Down, they'll work their plays. Steal, he kept it in bounds. Here it is again. Oh!
Now imagine being Michael Jordan and running into that wall every single year. Jordan didn't lose quietly to Detroit. He got punished. Every postseason meant bruises that lasted weeks, bodies crashing into him mid-air, and seasons ending the same way. The Pistons knocked the Bulls out 3 straight times, and each loss felt heavier than the last. This wasn't just about basketball, it was humiliating. Jordan would dominate games, put up huge numbers, and still walk off the floor beaten and battered. Cameras caught him afterward, calm but clearly frustrated, admitting the truth. They were better, and Chicago had to wait its turn. For someone wired like Jordan, that wasn't acceptance, it was fuel, and Detroit had no idea what they were creating. And here's the part that changed everything: the Jordan rules. Detroit didn't just guard Michael Jordan, they engineered a plan specifically for him. Force him to leave, push him toward help, no baseline drives, trap him on the wings, and the moment he touched the paint, make sure he hit the floor. That's where Laimbeer and Mahorn came in, the final line of pain. If Jordan beat the first defender, he wasn't finishing clean, he was getting knocked down. Hard, but this wasn't random chaos. The Pistons called it defense. They believed Jordan was too gifted to stop straight up, so they broke rhythm instead, physically and mentally. Wear him down, make every possession exhausting. And for a while, it seemed to work. Jordan was brilliant, but brilliance alone wasn't enough against a system built to hurt you every single night. But here's the twist nobody in Detroit saw coming. The Jordan rules didn't break Michael Jordan, they rebuilt him. He went to the weight room and came back stronger, thicker, and harder to knock off his spots. Those hits in the lane, he learned to absorb them. The traps, he countered with footwork and a deadly post game. But more importantly, his mind changed. Jordan stopped trying to beat the Pistons alone. He trusted the pass, trusted the system, and as he evolved, so did the Bulls. Scottie Pippen became a real force. Horace Grant gave them muscle. Phil Jackson's triangle offense gave structure to the chaos. Detroit wanted Jordan to play their game. Physical, desperate, emotional. By 1991, he wasn't doing that anymore. He was dictating everything, and suddenly, the Jordan rules looked outdated, slow, and useless.
For years, the Chicago Bulls 12-28 against these Detroit Pistons, including the playoffs. Detroit
has knocked out the Bulls each of the last 3 seasons, the last 2 in the conference finals. They did it in 6 in 1989. They did it in 7 a year ago. The officials.
And this is where the air started to feel different. When the Bulls entered the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, they weren't nervous, they were confident. Detroit tried the same old intimidation, but it didn't land. The fear was gone. Chicago pushed the pace, moved the ball, and attacked early. Jordan looked calm, not rushed, not angry, just locked in. Every possession felt controlled, like he already knew how this story ended. The Pistons weren't bullying anyone anymore. They were reacting. And for the first time, you could feel it. The balance of power in the East was slipping right through Detroit's fingers. Now take all of that and drop it inside the palace of Auburn Hills. From the opening tip of Game 4, the Bulls came out hunting. This wasn't survival, it was execution. Chicago hit shots early, smothered Detroit defensively, and never let the crowd breathe. And right in the middle of it all was Michael Jordan. He scored however he wanted. Mid-range jumpers, strong drives through contact, calm walk to the free throw line while the Pistons complained. Detroit fouled harder, shoved more, tried everything, but nothing worked. Every hit just made Jordan sharper. You could feel the mood change in the building. The noise faded. The swagger disappeared. The crowd slowly realized this wasn't a comeback night. It was an ending. The team that once owned this floor was being dismantled, possession by possession, by the same man they spent years trying to break.
Chicago averaging just over 12 turnovers per game. Just underway. 10:25 to go opening quarter.
There's a fight right there. Laimbeer and Jordan. Yes, indeed. There were punches thrown. Oakley was coming to the defense of Michael Jordan that time. This all happened down right around the foul line area. Laimbeer and Jordan definitely landed some shots here.
Daly and Collins are both on the court.
Wow, this is going to be...
And this is where it turned personal and painfully obvious. Bill Laimbeer was supposed to be the wall, the last line of resistance. Instead, he became the target. Jordan attacked the paint without hesitation, straight into Laimbeer's space, daring him to do something about it. And every time Laimbeer was late, or fouling, or complaining, the fouls stacked up. Then came the frustration, then the technicals. Laimbeer wasn't controlling anything anymore. He was reacting, reaching, shoving, watching Jordan walk calmly to the free throw line like it was routine. That's the real embarrassment. Jordan wasn't scared. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't avoiding contact. He was hunting it. The enforcer who once dictated fear was now just another body in the way. Symbolically, it said everything. The man built to break Jordan had been reduced to irrelevance, right in his own building. And once Laimbeer lost control, everything else followed. Tempers flared, shoves turned into confrontations. John Paxson gets hit. Words are exchanged. Whistles keep blowing. Technicals pile up on Detroit's side like receipts for a bad night. The Pistons weren't thinking anymore. They were swinging emotionally. Angry fouls, complaints to refs, zero composure. Meanwhile, the Bulls looked free, loose, confidence. Jordan kept directing traffic. Pippen attacked. Chicago stayed locked in. It was a total role reversal. The team that once thrived on chaos was drowning in it, while the Bulls played calm, grown man basketball. And then came the moment that changed how history would remember them. With seconds still left on the clock, Bill Laimbeer made the call. No handshakes, no acknowledgement, just turn around and leave. Isaiah Thomas followed. Joe DeMars followed. One by one, the Pistons walked straight off the floor. The crowd didn't know how to react. Some booed, some just sat there stunned. What they were watching wasn't toughness, it was surrender. That walkout erased years of dominance in a matter of seconds. 2 championships, countless battles, all overshadowed by a refusal to face defeat. Instead of passing the torch, Detroit dropped it. And by doing so, they handed Jordan something even bigger than a win: validation. The bad boys didn't lose with grace, and that decision would follow them far longer than any banner ever could.
And now they have to separate Mahorn and McHale and Laimbeer.
And almost immediately, the explanation started rolling in. Isaiah Thomas tried to frame the walkout as tradition, a passing of the torch, something that had been done to them years earlier, but fans weren't buying it. Neither was the media. What people saw wasn't symbolism, it was bitterness, no respect, no acknowledgement of defeat. That moment flipped the narrative overnight. Instead of being remembered as a gritty dynasty that pushed Jordan to greatness, the Pistons became the team that couldn't accept losing. The walkout didn't protect their pride, it exposed it, and history has never let them forget it. After that series, everything unraveled fast. The roster was aging, injuries piled up, Isaiah's body couldn't hold up, Laimbeer's physical edge wasn't enough anymore, and the league was changing. The same bruising style that once ruled the East suddenly looked desperate. Worst of all, the Jordan rules stopped working. Chicago had solved them, Detroit faded just as quickly as the Bulls rose, and they never reclaimed the throne. What happened in 1991 wasn't just a win, it was a coronation. Jordan didn't dodge the league's toughest defense, he destroyed it. Physically, mentally, symbolically, the team built to break stars couldn't break him. Instead, he broke them. From that moment on, the East belonged to Chicago. And what followed wasn't debate. It was dominance, championships, control. A dynasty born the night the bad boys fell. That night ended one era and launched another. The Pistons are remembered for refusing grace. Jordan is remembered for conquering the impossible. One walked away bitter. The other walked forward unstoppable. So what's your take? Was it toughness or was it just losing control?